Good afternoon. My name is Zsuzsanna Benyó, and the title of my PhD thesis is Human Adaptation to Spaceflight. But why space? Because your children will definitely have the chance to go to space. According to market analysts, we will reach the number of space travelers by 2030, or actually it will be bigger than 40,000, and this is thanks to modern reusable rocket technology, so it will become much cheaper. But before digging into the details, let me tell you a little bit about our team, about our background. Originally, I am an economist, and I studied dietetics here in the Semmelweis University. But just very recently, I have graduated in a multidisciplinary space master degree program here in Hungary, which I can very much recommend also to you, where we studied also space medicine. I'm also very glad that our supervisors are key experts in the Hungarian human spaceflight program called HUNOR. We are very happy to tell you that we will have our third Hungarian astronaut or space traveler by the end of this year, because we already had even a space tourist, Mr. Simonyi, a couple of years ago. In terms of our mission, we agreed that we will work on the mission, on the vision to achieve healthy, long life, healthy longevity, not only on Earth, but also related to space. Therefore, I would like to grab also the opportunity and encourage you to come up with space-related research ideas as well, because we are very keen to establish the Translational Research Institute for Space Health. We identified two very specific goals, two meta-analyses within the first year. And the first one will be related to bone, urinary, and renal disorders related to spaceflight, while the other one will be related to changes in the body composition of the space travelers. The first topic is assessing the effect of bisphosphonates in preventing spaceflight-induced bone, renal, and urinary disorders. Again, the question might come, why exactly this topic? Bone loss and renal disorders are among the top 3 priorities and red flags identified by NASA related to future, especially long-term human spaceflight. And if you will have the chance as a scientist to spend, let's say, 1 month on a space station, you will experience at least 1% of bone loss, if not 6%, especially if you do not do any countermeasures against them. And exercise is not enough, according to the analysis. Moreover, the issue is even bigger, because while your homeostasis, calcium homeostasis, is imbalanced, you will have a higher risk of renal stone formation and urinary disorders. So our aim is to investigate whether bisphosphonates, which is already proven its effect here on Earth, can prevent renal stones, urolithiasis, and bone loss in astronauts and space travelers. The clinical question is, can bisphosphonates prevent altered gravity-induced renal stone formation, urolithiasis, and bone loss? We agreed on a PICO framework with the populations humans in space, but not only we will examine astronauts, but humans in altered gravity models. Under this expression, I mean mainly so-called bed rest studies, when the humans lie in bed for at least 90 days, and they do this in a 6-degree head-down tilt position. The intervention in this case will be the usage of bisphosphonates, and on comparator are always studies where, or subjects where they didn't take or receive any bisphosphonates. And the outcomes are all related to bone loss, urinary, and renal disorders. Because we hypothesize that bisphosphonates are effective countermeasures to minimize bone loss, urinary, and renal disorders induced by and increased by spaceflight. So the implications will be to minimize the occurrence of harmful syndromes, as I explained related to spaceflight or microgravity models. We did a very thorough systematic research not to lose any important articles. We conducted the research in 5 key databases, but even checked the databases of NASA, the research database of the International Space Station and the European Space Agency. As a result of this, though we have excluded keywords related to bisphosphonates, again, not to lose anything, we identified almost 17,000 studies. In terms of the flowchart, as you can see, we are happy to announce that finally we identified 17 eligible articles, and on top of that, based on the reference tracer, we identified an additional 4 articles. I'm also very happy that just yesterday I received our first forest plots, and as a key marker, we examined bone mineral density femoral neck, which is a key marker related to bone loss. Here on this chart, you can see the change in percentage. We analyzed, for the time being, 3 studies. The first one was conducted in space on the International Space Station. The other 2 have been also conducted by space agencies, but here on the ground, on Earth. They are bed rest studies. One of them, Leblon, was done in Houston. The other one was conducted in France in a hospital specialized on space medicine. As you can see, the population is homogeneous, and in terms of the results, we examined the mean difference, and the mean difference in this case reached 3.23. The confidence interval of the overall effect size pulled together does include 0 value. So therefore, though it's clinically relevant, it's statistically not significant. And we can retain the null hypothesis. In terms of the other forest plot, where we again examine bone mineral density, but in case of lumbar, and again, we used the same studies, and we examined, again, change in percentage. Here, the mean difference reached 4.1, and the confidence interval in this case didn't reach 0, so therefore, in this case, it's also statistically considerable, significant result. Going forward, the good news is that we have many other parameters to examine. As you can see, all are related to bone loss, renal, and urinary disorders. This is also one of the strengths of our meta-analysis, that we can examine 10 different parameters. The other strength is that these studies have been endorsed by national major space agencies, and thanks to bed rest studies, which is an acknowledged study type in terms of analyzing microgravity-induced health disorders, we have even randomized controlled trial studies, which we didn't think at the beginning when we started the research. There are some limitations. As you can see, we have so far 21 eligible articles, and the number of subjects is usually from 7 to 14 approximately who are examined in a study. This is where we are in terms of the first project. And the second project will be investigating how spaceflight or altered gravity levels affect body composition. Again, you might have seen astronauts who cannot even stand up after their spaceflight, and this is mainly down to the muscle loss. With the trend that space is for all, we believe that it's important to answer the question and explore the optimal duration of spaceflight without having any harm in the human body. So that's why we concluded PECO framework to answer this, where we will examine humans either exposed to spaceflight or either exposed to gravity levels, and we will compare the outcome with the baseline. And the hypothesis in this case is that body compositions of humans are changing induced by spaceflight or microgravity models. These are the ways how NASA and Russians are measuring mass in space. So as a summary, we would like to conclude both studies within 1 year, and this is one of my favorite quotes related to space. We choose to go to the moon, not because it's easy, but because it's hard.
Congratulations for your progress, interesting topic. My question is about the microgravitational model. Like, how can this replicate the true flight? Because are these volunteers, young people, or elder patients? And I know like astronomers may be super healthy. So how much this could be true replication?
In these specific studies, which have been conducted by NASA and the European Space Agency, together with JAXA, which is the Japanese space agency, they have recruited people also for the bed rest studies who were in line with the so-called very strict military health requirements. So they are screened just like as astronauts, and also it's also similar in a way because your body, your muscles, your bones are unloaded. There is even a very interesting and easily understandable site of NASA where one of the participants is giving providing us with a very thorough diary about her experience, and she has been discussing this also with astronauts, and they confirm that they feel the same things.
Thank you for your presentation. I have one little question. So, how they measure the body composition and the bone loss and everything?
I love this question. This is why I inserted these photos. This is based on Newton's second law, which is that force equals mass multiplied by acceleration. So imagine that while they are flying, there is a regular measurement regime. This part of the device is moving, or here, in this direction. And actually, it measures the mass, so not the real weight, but the mass, which is, as I explained, can be calculated out of this equation according to Newton's second law.
I have another question regarding your first topic. You said that one of the studies was done on the International Space Station and they measured the body density. I know that you use DEXA for this. Do they have a DEXA, or how did they measure the bone density on the International Space Station?
Yes, they have a specially developed device for that, a DEXA device.
Congratulations on your interesting topic. I was wondering, it's a bit of a different approach, but one of the group gets bisphosphonate in your first topic, but did you look into any side effects when it comes to, for instance, dentistry appointments or anything like that? Or is it only just...
I'm aware of side effects here on the ground, which have been reported. And I think I know what you are referring to.
Because it's a big contradiction.
But interestingly enough, related to space researches or the bed rest studies, nothing came up like this. The side effect which has been reported was slight fever at the beginning of the administration of the drug. And there was one case where the subject had gastrointestinal problems, and then he finally didn't participate in the whole intervention program.